Yeah, so Shaifali, you can start speaking now.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining me today. My name is Shaifali Aggarwal, and I am the founder and CEO of Ivy Groupe, which is a boutique MBA admissions consulting company. And today I'm going to be speaking with you about why to get an MBA, and in particular, three good reasons and three bad reasons to get an MBA. And so before jumping in, I'd like to thank GMAT Club for this opportunity and this platform. So if you're liking the video sessions, please consider subscribing to GMAT Club's YouTube channel. There are many benefits. You can get live lessons and classes stream every day for the next 2 months. And GMAT Club is also happy to offer 7-day access to the GMAT Club tests for YouTube subscribers. And so with that, let's get started. And throughout the presentation, if you are liking what you're hearing, of course, please hit the like button. That's always really, really helpful. All right, so let's get started. So first off, I'm going to just start with a quick introduction on who Ivy Groupe is and who I am. So who is Ivy Groupe? So Ivy Groupe is a boutique MBA admissions consulting company that provides personalized and customized services to clients globally who are applying to business school. And I want to stress that we are a boutique firm, which means that clients work with me directly and get very personalized attention. And I would say one of our core strengths is really providing in-depth customer service. We care very deeply about our clients, and our mission is to help clients tell their story to business schools so that they can achieve their dreams and impact the world in whatever field that they're in. And so we are very passionate about authenticity, leadership, success, and impact, again, across any field. And I've worked with applicants in finance, consulting, nonprofit, media, marketing, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, in the Army, et cetera. So a lot of experience from that perspective. Our philosophy also, as I mentioned, focuses on authenticity and storytelling. And as you can see here, our clients have been admitted to the world's top tier business schools, including, just to name a few, Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Kellogg, Columbia, Haas, and London Business School. Now, with respect to my background, I am a graduate of Harvard Business School and Princeton University. I actually started my career in finance before going down more of an entrepreneurial path, which is why my rich and multifaceted career across industries and functions makes me extremely well suited to understand the varied backgrounds of candidates, just like you, who are applying to business school. And so I spent most of my career as a finance professional on Wall Street, where I worked in the investment banking and asset management industries at leading companies like JP Morgan. And I also have experience working in the educational nonprofit sector and as an entrepreneur, founding an online media company prior to Ivy Groupe. However, I've always had a very strong passion for education and feel very lucky to have had the opportunities that I did, which led me to launching Ivy Groupe and to where I am today. And so I've spent many, many years successfully coaching MBA applicants from all over the world. And as an example, before starting Ivy Groupe, I was executive vice president of business development and strategy and a senior MBA admissions consultant at two other bigger admissions companies. So I have a lot of experience in this space. At Harvard Business School, I also had the unique opportunity to gain perspective on what the top business schools are looking for in candidates when I served as VP admissions of the Women's Student Association. And so in that role, I had the opportunity to collaborate directly with the HBS admissions office as a bridge between current students and prospective and admitted students. I've also been a featured speaker both domestically and internationally on the QS World MBA Tour. Of course, have led webinars on GMAT Club and multiple webinars. And I've also been quoted as an expert in US News multiple times, as well as in Business Insider, and have been a contributor to Forbes, Entrepreneur, The Economist, and The Muse. And I'm also a member of the Association of International Graduate Admissions Consultants. So, really, again, excited to be here today and to share, my knowledge and expertise with you as you immerse yourselves in the MBA application journey. So let's take some time to think about this broader question of why the MBA before starting to dig into the specific good reasons and some bad reasons for citing why you want to get the MBA. So as we think about the MBA, it really is a very, very important question, which unfortunately too many times I see people kind of jumping into the process, seeing friends or colleagues applying to business school without really taking the time to think about why they themselves are seeking the MBA degree. And this is a very important question. I mean, you're going to be spending a lot of time, money, resources as you think about getting the MBA. And even prior to that, applying. You have to study for the GMAT and the GRE. You have to think about, who would your recommenders be? You have to take some time to think about your story, and you have to take time to put together your applications and visit schools or, learn about the schools in whatever capacity that you can. And that's a really, really big investment as you think about this process. So today, I hope to give you a little bit more clarity on what are some, really, really compelling reasons to get an MBA and some reasons that are just not as strong. And why is this all important? Because ultimately, why you're getting an MBA is what is going to convince the admissions committee to give you a spot in their program or not, right? Admissions committee members want to understand your goals. They want to understand your motivation. They want to understand your fit. And if what you're saying is just not compelling enough, or you just haven't dug in as deeply, that's really going to start to come through in your applications, which will hurt you as you jump into the process. So it's really, really important to be able to connect the dots when you think about what you've done so far, what you want to do in the future, and how the MBA fits into that. And so I often like to think of the MBA as a bridge. So it really is a bridge that will help to connect your prior experiences with your future ones. And it's a bridge that you need to convince the admissions committee is one that's absolutely necessary as you think about and apply to their programs. And so, of course, the application and the interview are ways through which that information is conveyed by you and assessed by the schools. And when it comes to the applications and the interviews, it can vary by school, from school to school. What's really interesting about the business school application process is that there is no standard application. Each school has its own set of essays, its own questions. Some schools, have their own interview processes. It could be a standard interview, it can be a group interview, it can be a blind interview where, admissions committees or whoever is interviewing you only has your resume. It can be a non-blind interview where they've read your entire application. And because the process is so unique, it is critical to be able to explain why you are seeking an MBA, not only from a broad perspective, which most people can do, but it just ends up being too generic, but really from a very, very specific perspective, and we're going to get into that. All right, so with that, let's jump into 3 good reasons to get an MBA. All right, so here's good reason number 1. To enhance your hard business skills. And what do I mean by hard skills? These would be skills, where you're gaining knowledge about, a particular set of subjects, or understanding more cross-functionally different areas of business. So enhancing your hard business skills, of course, this is an area that every business school is going to dig into. They will most likely have a core curriculum where you have to learn the basics of business. And so when you think about enhancing your hard business skills, it's not simply just saying that you want to learn about strategy or you want to learn about marketing. The first step is to be able to very clearly formulate your short-term and long-term career goals. And this is critical. This will really serve to be the foundation of your entire application. And ultimately, you are seeking a spot in that MBA program to be able to attain your short-term and long-term career goals. And so let's take a few minutes just to dig into this a little bit more. So every business school will want you to state your post-MBA career goals, as well as how their particular program will help you to attain them. And so what constitutes strong post-MBA career goals? In short, strong post-MBA goals are specific, they're credible, and they're achievable. So what does it mean to be specific? So candidates are often hesitant to be specific in their post-MBA goals, since they're unsure of what they really want to do after business school. And so they're worried about being locked into what they write about. But be rest assured that once you are in business school, you can change your goals. But for business school application purposes, you should be able to state your post-MBA goals that you plan to follow at that point in time and be very excited about what you're pursuing. And so when it comes to a specific post-MBA goal, be very clear about the sort of industry that you want to be in, and even the sort of role you want to take on. So for example, instead of saying that you want to just pursue a career in healthcare, which is very broad, it's better to say that you want to lead strategy at a medical device company, which is easier to visualize and is much more tangible. Now, the second sort of criteria when it comes to your goals is being credible, which means that they should already build upon what you've done in the past. So significant career switches can often come across as unattainable, mainly because you don't have any prior experience in order to achieve it. So, for example, if you're working in investment banking with a focus on retail companies and you want to switch to the field of healthcare after graduating from business school, that will be a very, very tough sell to admissions committees. It doesn't, as you think about a reason for business school, it's just not going to be very credible. But if you want to work in corporate development within a retail company, that will be much more believable given you've had prior financial experience working with retail companies as an investment banker. And then finally, your goals should also be achievable. So admissions committees want to see that you have what it takes to accomplish your goals. So a lot of this really boils down to the qualities that you currently possess and that you displayed in the past in order to succeed in your prior endeavors. And so admissions committees really assess your past achievements as indicators of success in the future, including your ability to achieve your post-MBA career goals. So it's really, really important to demonstrate your qualities throughout your application. And so this would be your resume, essays, recommendation letters, data forms, interviews, etc. So this is really critical because of this next point here. When you think about why you want to go to business school, it really comes down to this bridge, right? Understanding what your current skill set is and the hard skills that you need to attain your goals. The MBA is really that missing piece in that equation as you think about your current skill set and what you need to get to where you want to be. So it can be really, really helpful to just take some time to think about what your current skill set is and what you need to get to where you want to be and how the MBA plays into all of that. And as you do that, the gap in your skill set should correspond with what those MBA programs offer, right? So again, if a friend is going to business school and it sounds like it's a good idea, that's not enough, right? It is really important to understand how the MBA plays into that, and that is what you will be conveying in your applications in terms of why you are seeking an MBA. And this is a question that comes up a lot in essays. Many business schools in some way or the other will ask you, why are you seeking an MBA? And, why do you want to go to our program? And so thinking about that bridge will make it much easier to convey your story and to make that sell as to why you need to get that MBA from that program. And so as you think about this reason of enhancing your hard business skills, you need to convey the why and you need to point to specifics. And so, as you think about it, a lot of business schools, as I mentioned, will have the same sort of core curriculum. But is there something in particular about that school's core curriculum that really appeals to you as you think about, the hard business skills that you are looking to gain from that program? All right, so that is reason number one. If you're liking the presentation, please hit the like button on your screen. As mentioned, that's always really helpful. Okay, so let's move into the second good reason for why an MBA. The second reason is sort of the counterpart to the first reason. And in the first reason, we were talking more about the hard skills, which would be things, kind of what you hope to gain cross-functionally. When we think about your softer business skills, these are really, really critical. And one way to just think about the importance of this is just to look at the mission statements of business school programs. And interestingly, a lot of people don't even do that, right? So if you were to just take a quick look at the mission statements of the top programs, you'd really start to see that one thing they really look at is, developing leaders who give back to society, people who are mission driven, things like that. And so when you think about your own soft, business skill set and what may be missing, it could be things like your leadership skills. It could be things like negotiations or your ability to interact with others and to collaborate with other people. So really, similar to the prior exercise where you look at the current skill set that you have and the skill set that you're hoping to get in the future, what does that soft business skill set look like? And that's really, really important as you think about the why the MBA, because the MBA program is much, much more than just simply sitting in the classroom. And it's through these, through the ability of doing things beyond just the classroom that you'll start to enhance some of those soft skills. So typically the way it works is you'll get sort of that theory with professors, through classes, through cases. As an example, when I was at Harvard Business School, taking a leadership class in our first year was was required, as it may be in a lot of different programs. And so we learned a lot about the theory of leadership, but then also had the opportunity to apply it. And that's, as you think about what you want to do in the future, and again, as you revisit those goals will be the foundation of your entire application. It is really, really important to think about, again, the why and point to specifics. And there are nuances. I think, once you start to delve into each program, you will find that there are nuances when it comes to the learning process at the different schools and what they are teaching you. And perhaps, as you think about your goals, what fits in better for you versus another program. So for the why, think about the hard business skills that you need. Think about the soft business skills that you need. And here's the third good reason. And this sort of, picking up from the prior slide, it's experiential learning. So many schools, for instance, Wharton, Columbia, really sort of stress this idea of being able to apply theory to practice. And so the experiential learning opportunities that you get in business school are really unique. And it's not going to be just what you get in the classroom. It's going to be what you're able to get outside through the extracurriculars, through conferences, through speaker series, through treks, through opportunities to go abroad. For instance, Harvard Business School has the field program. Stanford has GMIX, where these are really unique opportunities for you to go abroad and learn about different cultures, the way business is done in different regions of the world, to learn best practices from different industries as you look to your own goals, in terms of just honing your own skill set. And in a very, increasingly interconnected world where most industries these days, if not all, are global, it's really, really important to be able to have that sort of a skill set or that perspective when you are leading organizations in the future. And of course, to be able to learn from your own peers in the process. Beyond that, you'll also, in a very risk-free environment, learn how to solve problems, and you'll gain confidence. Having the opportunity to apply what you learn in practice is something that many business schools offer, and is something that many, if not all, students find to be very, very helpful as they think about becoming leaders in their fields. And then, of course, as you do all of that and you engage in sort of this experiential learning, you will be engaging with really diverse classmates and building a network that you're really going to draw upon, not only in business school, but also throughout your life. And you'll be getting advice on personal issues, you'll be getting professional advice, and you'll be, forming relationships not just with your peers, but also with professors, and you'll have access to a really, really broad alumni database. So looking at these overarching ideas or reasons for why the MBA, hard skills, soft skills, experiential learning, engagement, etc. How do you start to differentiate yourself from someone else who's getting the MBA, right? You may be thinking and scratching your head and saying, okay, well, this is all great, but this is true of everybody. And yes, that is true. Now, it's really when we start to dig into the specificity and where you start to, again, think about your goals, that you are going to start to form a picture of why that particular school is the best one for you. So now it's not only why the MBA, but why the MBA from a particular school? And that's a really, really important question to answer that, again, many people don't. So when I look at candidates' essays, a lot of people will kind of, from a high level perspective, say, okay, I want to get the MBA because I'm going to get all this stuff. It'll get me from A to B. But it's so generic. What they say for one school would be true of another school. So how do you start to tailor why the MBA is the right program, or why an MBA from a particular school is the right one for you? And the way to do that is through school research. And I really cannot stress this enough. This is not something that you kind of just do on the fly. This is a process, and it requires time to, again, think about your own goals and why each school will help you attain your particular goals. And so there are really, 5 sort of key buckets that I always think about when it comes to school research. The first is, of course, going to a school's website. Now, when you go to the website, this is a really great way to get a lay of the land, to get a sense of what classes they offer, what are the extracurriculars they offer, what is the admissions process like. Oftentimes there will be, anecdotes from students who are currently there. So this is a really great way to start before you start to branch off and get into some of the more specifics. So the website is always the best place to start. Now, beyond that, I do recommend, if you're able to visit the schools. It's really different hearing about a school and actually visiting in person and envisioning yourself there as a student. So if you can visit, I would encourage you to do so. Schools do host info sessions with the admissions office. They host tours and class visits if they are in session for prospective students on campus. And these often do need to be booked in advance. So these trips should be planned accordingly. And the best times to visit, if you can, are in the fall or the spring when students are on campus, so that you can really interact with them and perhaps even attend some activities. So oftentimes there are conferences taking place right then and there that you can just get involved in. But if not, you can still participate in info sessions and tours over the summer. Now, during the visits themselves, take notes. If there's a certain, if you have a conversation with a student and they're following the same field that you want to be in, and they mention something really insightful about the school that enables them to really succeed in that field, note it down, because that's what's going to differentiate that school from every other school. And really just be enthusiastic, be authentic to who you are. That will really help you to stand out. Now, you can also visit or attend local info sessions. So usually if you live in a major city, either within the US or internationally, local information sessions or MBA tours are a really great way to meet admissions officers and to learn about the schools. And so during these events, admissions officers will usually give a presentation. They'll participate in panels. They'll even offer one-on-one meetings with prospective students. So definitely bring your resume and be prepared to ask questions. Now, webinars are really, really fantastic because all you really need is an internet connection. It doesn't matter where you live or where you may be. And so there really is no excuse for not getting to know a school at all in this day and age. And so most MBA programs host information sessions with admissions officers and current students via webinars. And so check each school's website or call each school to see when such events will be taking place. And then, of course, as I already mentioned, have conversations with current students and alumni. So these could be conversations that you have on campus, but also it could be colleagues in the workplace. It could be, a student who you reach out to who's maybe part of a club that you want to get involved in. But these conversations, as I mentioned, can really provide a lot of insight into a school's program that you often cannot get just by reading literature about it. And that's where this specificity, if we put everything together, the specifics that you get from all of this research is going to make your why MBA, and again, why an MBA from that particular school, so much more compelling. Because if you are going into healthcare post MBA, or if you're going into impact investing, or if you want to go into brand management, your reasons for getting the MBA are going to start to differ as you dig into the specifics of each school. So high level, the ideas are the same, but it's those specifics where you'll really start to differentiate yourself. And it'll be really, really clear that you've done your homework, that you understand how the MBA fits into your story and fits into your puzzle as you think about your goals going forward. Okay. Great. So once again, please hit that like button as we go through the presentation. So those are, 3 good reasons as to why to get the MBA. So let's go into 3 bad reasons that you can potentially cite as to why you're getting an MBA. So the first bad reason is being unsure about your future career path. So if you, and this goes back to the idea of not being able to express your goals. If you just say that, you want to get an MBA because it's the next step in your career and it's going to, help you to progress, that's unfortunately just not enough. And it's not going to help you get into an MBA program. So do your best to formulate your short-term and long-term career goals as they stand at the point of time that you're applying. They should make sense. You should be able to connect the dots in your story. And again, understand your current skill set and the skills you need from the graduate school to attain your goals. And as you're doing this, you may actually start to realize that the MBA is really not the best degree for you. So maybe if you're interested in public service, you'll start to note down what your current skill set is, what you're hoping to get in the future, and realize that, the MBA is really not the best degree. Maybe it's the master's in public administration or the master's in public policy. Or if you are in finance and you really want to, become a top-notch, hedge fund trader, maybe getting the MBA is not the right degree. Maybe getting a master's in finances. So the MBA is one graduate degree program, but there are many, many more out there. And so it is really important to take stock of what you're doing now, what you'd like to do, what that gap is in your skill set, to help you determine what that type of program is that will help you get to where you want to be. And again, it may not be an MBA degree. So telling a business school that, you just want to get that degree because it's the next best thing, or it really is the best thing for you, won't be compelling unless you're able to back that up with what you want to do in your future going forward. And definitely do your research and don't rush the decision. As I mentioned before, you're going to be investing a lot of time, effort, financial resources into this process. Ultimately, you're also giving up your time. When you think about a full-year program, you're giving up that salary. If it's a part-time program, you're giving up your evenings and weekends. Same, if it's an executive MBA program, you're giving up, your weekends. So you want to be sure that this is the absolute right degree for you, and to be able to express that clearly. So being vague about your future career path is a bad reason for wanting to go and get the MBA. So here's the second bad reason, just to get another job or to increase your salary. Now, business school will give you the skill set and the knowledge base and the relationships to get you to where you want to be. But it is a journey. It's not a destination. right? So it's, as you think about getting a job and you think about increasing your salary, those are byproducts of ultimately why you're going to business school, but not really a reason to go to business school. It's not, you can't go to business school and just talk about wanting to, get another role, wanting to, increase your lot in life. Those things are all byproducts of what you will gain from the business school program. So, from the curriculum, from the extracurriculars, from the resources, all of that combined will help you eventually get there, but it's not the reason, of course. And so, as I mentioned right here, recruiting is, of course, one aspect of the MBA program, but it's not the only one, right? The purpose of a business school is not just to get students in and sort of, pump them out and say, okay, here are jobs. It's that journey. It's what you do between kind of joining on the first day and leaving on that last day. It's everything in between. That is why you're really getting the MBA. And what you get from the MBA, will pay off in dividends down the road. It may not pay off immediately, but it's one of those things where you're investing to get that higher ROI in the future. And so business schools don't want to be admitting students who just say they want to get an MBA because of the job or to increase their salary. That's very short-sighted and doesn't tell them why the program itself is the right one for them. And so, as part of the why the MBA is thinking about how do you see yourself contributing, because during those 2 years it's important to give back to the program as much as you take. And if you talk about just getting another job or increasing your salary, you're primarily just taking from the school and not really conveying why the program is the right one for you. So how do you see yourself contributing? And as you think about this question, think about what you've done in the workplace. Think about what you've done on the extracurricular side, both in college and post-college, and how can you draw upon that to really provide a unique perspective to your class when you think about going to business school. And again, admissions committees are looking for candidates who are genuinely interested in having impact on society. So it's not, all me. It's, yes, you are getting skills and learning a lot from an MBA program, but what are you able to give back? And ultimately, business schools are looking for people who can take what they learn from that environment and give back and have an even greater impact. And so this brings me to bad reason number 3. To just get another credential on your resume or for the brand. Now, if you talk about going to a business school because it's, one of the top in the world, that comes across again as a little too self-serving, right? So the brand can open doors, but it's much more than that. And, a school is more likely to give a spot to someone who is more thoughtful about why the MBA will help them in their career in terms of having impact, as opposed to someone who just very simply says that they want to go there for the brand and just to get that degree on their resume. So it's important not to come across as self-serving in your applications, and this goes back to the idea of when it comes to applications, you need to be humble, you need to be self-aware. And part of that is just understanding, what can you give back to a program as much as it's giving you. And of course, I know it's I sound like a bit of a broken record here, but this is really how important your goals are as you think about the foundation of your application. What are your goals and how will the MBA help you to get there? And that's really the why. That answering that question will help you get to the why of why a certain program is the right one for you, and help you to show that that fit. And by pointing to the specific, the specifics, you're going to essentially point to each school and tailor each school's program to you and what you want to achieve, and that's going to be different for every single person. Conveying that specificity and that tailoring of the program is really key. That will help you to stand out. And so just a couple of other, things to think about when you think about why the MBA program of your choice, in addition to what I've already mentioned. Keep in mind a school style of teaching. Those are other reasons that can be helpful as you think about an MBA program. For instance, Harvard Business School is known for the case study method. Is that the kind of environment that you are looking for, that you would thrive in? Or do you prefer a more traditional lecture-based style of teaching? Also think about, what is happening in the surrounding community. Do you prefer a bigger city or a smaller one? Does that play into your goals in some way? And think about, the resources. So for instance, people in finance really find Columbia and NYU appealing because New York City is, the center of the financial world. So other factors like that can start to play into the specificity and demonstrating fit aspects. So with that, I'd love to just tell you a little bit more about, Ivy Groupe and why partner with us. We are a boutique MBA admissions consulting company. And so for all engagements, as I mentioned earlier on, I am the primary consultant, and you would be working directly with me. And this differs from other MBA admissions consulting firms that pair or match you with a consultant that they think will be the best fit. And these consultants are primarily working part-time, or maybe less experienced. You'll also benefit from input from our advisory board, comprised of professionals who have attended top-tier programs and who very deeply understand the MBA admissions process. And so you can see here with the bullet, just a sampling list of the schools where we have collectively been accepted to or received invitations to interview, such as HBS, Stanford, Wharton, Kellogg, Columbia, Booth, etc. We also use a very customized approach when working with you. And you can definitely take a look at, testimonials on GMAT Club's website. We also have testimonials on our own website as well. And we also offer a range of services. So we have comprehensive packages where we work with clients from start to finish, hourly services, which is more a la carte if you have a specific question or need help with a particular aspect of the application, and a pre-MBA package to help you strengthen your profile. And so you can, please feel free to email us at info@ivygroupe.com. There is an E at the end of group for more information, and if you're interested in exploring further. And I also want to leave you with, before jumping into Q&A, some resources that you can also avail of. Feel free to sign up for emails at www.ivygroupe.com for tips and updates. I do send out tips 2 to 3 times a month. And you'll also receive our free guide on the top 6 mistakes to avoid when applying to business school. You can also visit our website to watch other free videos about different topics related to the MBA application process. There, if you just go to our webinar tab, you'll be able to see those. Also, feel free to visit our products page. We offer a range of different products, and as a special sort of promotion, we are offering 20% off of our MBA application checklist until March 17th with promo code GMAT20. And this checklist is really an in-depth list of questions for each aspect of the application process to help you think about every step of the process that you're going or that you will be going through, and to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So it's really to help you to get organized before you get started in the process, or if you're already in it, to make sure that you're on track. And of course, feel free to follow us on Twitter at Ivy_group. So again, feel free to like the presentation. And with that, let's open it up to Q&A. So is the reason I want to develop leadership skills in my MBA program an adequate reason to do an MBA? So it is an adequate reason from a generic level, from a high level, right? But what you need to do is you need to tailor it to you and your goals. And that's really the key sort of takeaway from here is, as you think about what your goals are, why is developing leadership skills important for you in the role that you want to be in the future? So taking some time to dig in a little bit more into why being a strong leader will be critical for you in your role. What are the specific resources or classes that a business school offers that will help you gain that skill set as you think about those particular goals is really what's really important. So when it comes to your leadership skills, what is it that you want to improve? Is it your ability to push yourself outside of your comfort zone? Is it your ability to communicate with people who have different styles? Whatever it may be, think about what may be lacking when it comes to your leadership skills and why that particular program is the right one to help you develop it as you think about your goals. And it's important to link it back to your goals. That's what's really going to help to take this quick, sort of a snippet, I want to develop leadership skills, to really the next level. How do you reason with the opinion that work experience teaches you all of this practically? So when it comes to work experience, you will be gaining practical exposure, but I bet it's going to be in one area or one field, right? So it's very difficult to really get that holistic viewpoint or perspective when you think about what you're trying to get from an MBA versus what you'll get in the workplace. And again, it really comes down to your goals. If what you are planning, if what you're planning to do in the future is exactly what you're planning to do right now, it may not make sense to get the MBA, right? The practical experience may be exactly what you need and may be more valuable to you. But if you are seeking, maybe to make a transition or taking on a slightly different role, then gaining the other experiences that you'll get from business school may just provide that extra, oomph that you need as you think about enhancing your profile. So how do you defend if you want to make a career shift to strategy, if you want to pursue an MBA in strategic management? That's really, going to come down to the particulars of a person's profile. So essentially, what have you done in the past that is leading you to this sort of a goal in the future? So why are you interested in studying strategy or making a career shift in strategy? What in your past has prompted you to go down that path? Why is it important for you to do? As you think about a shift in strategy, that itself is also really broad. So as you think about strategy, what are you hoping to do with strategy in the future? As you think about, again, your goals. So that is the foundation here. So the way to defend it will really, really come down to what have you been doing already and what are you lacking as you think about what you want to do in the future. So it requires some introspection as you go through that process. What does contributing mean, to be precise? Since it's asked a lot in the essays. So contributing really means, what are you going to give back to a program? So for example, if you are in finance, or let's just say there is a finance candidate, in general, not true of everybody, but in general, most finance candidates tend to be really, really strong when it comes to their analytical skill set and their quantitative background. So what does it mean to contribute in this case? It could be, they can, in learning teams with their peers who maybe don't have that strong of a background, they are able to teach their peers and help them through tough quantitative cases or help them think through things analytically. It could be, maybe they've had exposure to a particular deal or deal process that's just really unique, so they can share that experience in the classroom. So think about, what makes you unique? What are the things that you have done? What do you consider yourself an expert in? And this is going to really vary from person to person. What kind of activities have you been involved in the past? What kind of a skill set that, do you currently have that you think will be valuable to your peers? How can I improve my resume while preparing for the GMAT? So as you think about your resume, it really is, ultimately, is you look at each bullet. So what I always say is look at each bullet of your resume and think about the so what, right? So if you're writing down a bullet, what is this? So what? Why is that important? What are the results? So what I would say is, as you improve, as you think about improving your resume, take some time to think about that so what. And if the so what is lacking, then try to do whatever you need to professionally, et cetera, to be able to answer that so what. So it's an ongoing process. It's not something that can be done, in a couple of days, or et cetera. But you need to take time to think about what is each bullet conveying, and how can you really magnify what you're trying to say as you think about each bullet. Will a change in a career path be frowned upon by the admissions committee? So for example, an engineering, computer science background in education, but working in advisory. No, a change in a career path is not frowned upon, but you have to be able to connect the dots and explain it. So if something is not clear when it comes to connecting the dots, you need to lay it out to the admissions committee so they understand your thought process. And you also need to explain why that career change is important for you going forward. So those are all, kind of a lot of the things I'm talking about today. They do require just a little bit more thought as you think about going from step A to step B. And the MBA, of course, and the YMBA, is really part of all of that. But with that, I want to thank you, all of you, for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope this has been helpful. Definitely hit that like button if it has been, and feel free to take a look at our website, and to sign up for our emails, etc. And so with that, thank you again for your time. Good luck with your journey, and enjoy the rest of your day.